Governor Jeff Landry and his supporters are regrouping after voters rejected 4 constitutional amendments. The proposals faced strong opposition from both Democrats and some Republicans. I spoke with experts to see what drove voter turnout and whether the amendments could resurface. Louisiana voters decisively rejected 4 constitutional amendments, marking one of the first significant political defeats for Governor Jeff Landry and the Republican supermajorities in the legislature.
So there's really a couple aspects to what happened with the amendment vote on Saturday night. The first is looking at it purely from a demographic standpoint, and that was all the way back to the first day of early voting. I was noticing unusually high Democratic turnout, and that unusually high turnout sustained itself throughout the week of early voting and the absentee voting that came afterwards. But what was kind of a bit of a surprise to me was I saw even stronger Democratic turnout on election night. So there were 2 halves of the coin that combined to defeat the amendment.
Around 66% of voters rejected all of the amendments in an election that could have major political implications for the remainder of Landry's term. The Louisiana legislature may experience heightened opposition following the failure to win approval for his most ambitious policy initiative at the polls. Maria Harmon, leader of the Say No to Them All campaign with Step Up Louisiana, says this victory is only the beginning.
I could really see this tradition emerging again in a very critical and positive way. I'm also glad that we were able to transcend, racial backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, where faith leaders united generally together to see, because whenever you look at our state budget, it is a moral document. It is a moral document. So to see leaders stand up on moral clarity and actually educating the masses and saying, no, this is bad policy, and we have to use our voices and exercise our rights and our power on March 29th. And that's what happened. And it was so impactful, and it was many resources that came together as well that I think benefited the greater community.
Landry's focus for the election, Amendment 2, sought to reduce the highest income tax rate the state could impose and limit annual growth in the state budget. Additionally, it would have made introducing new tax breaks more difficult. However, Barry Irwin from Leaders for a Better Louisiana says parts of the proposal could have benefited the state.
Well, I think there were some positive things in there. I mean, there clearly were. The legislature passed it overwhelmingly. I mean, I think there were things like doubling the size of the rainy day fund, making it bigger, cutting taxes, income taxes for senior citizens, doing some things with the teacher pay part. I mean, I think all of those things were favorable things. But I think on the flip side, what you got was, information about, well, it is getting rid of some education funds that have been there for a long time. There was concern about churches that perhaps they were going to be taxed when I don't think they were.
However, former state representative Woody Jenkins claims the contrary. He argues that the amendments were ambitious and confusing for many, and that faith-based institutions could have faced significant consequences. He also says some things in the amendment's language were misleading.
So you can have many, many things in one bill, but here in Louisiana, the Louisiana Constitution says that each bill has to have only one object. So you can't throw everything in the kitchen sink, and also that's a good thing for people to understand. So it's really important that you focus in on one thing at a time in a constitutional amendment. Now, we had also people felt they were being deceived. If you followed the teachers, they were being told that they were getting a permanent pay raise. Well, no, it was not a pay raise, actually. Or it was promoted as, well, it keeps the homestead exemption. Well, we have the homestead exemption. And it says we keep religious exemption. Well, actually, it was tremendously narrowing the religious exemption and eliminating the exemption for nonprofit organizations. There were many things about it that people felt, and I felt, were deceiving in the way it was being described.
Jenkins says the public has voiced their opinion, and Governor Landry should respect the will of the voters.
There has to be better policy decisions. There has to be better leadership. And I think what you do in a situation like this, you say, we made some mistakes. The people have spoken. As long as there's an honest election, the people are always right when they get to vote because it's their government, right? So I think that should be the message.